All right, so here at Vintage Outfitting, we are doing a frame-off restoration of this FJ40. It's a 1978. The engine was running great, and the frame is in incredible shape. The tub was super rotted, as were the door panels as well. So we've sandblasted the sides and the panels. And over here today, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be replacing, patching the bottom of these door panels. You can see here coming out of the sandblaster, got most of the Bondo off, but there's quite a bit of rust along the bottom. And so Andrew over here is going to talk through the process of what we're doing to replace with some new patches. We got our patches from Real Steel. Let's see, here you can see they're, look, same gauge steel, everything looks right. The initial alignment seems to be very close, but it's not exact. That may just be these doors, but that's something that we can address as we go. So Andrew, what's the prep that you've done so far to get this ready to go, and what are the next steps?
So I like to go up, even if it's not completely rusted, go up to a straight line and cut. It's rusting through there, but you can see along the seams it's going to eventually go through if you don't fix it or seal it in. So I go up a little bit higher. I've cut it out. I've kind of made some reference marks here and there, but between the old one, I'll cut the little lip off of this one and kind of make some reference marks, but then to draw the door skin up flush, because it'll sag whenever you do cut that loose. It loses its structural integrity there. So I've used Clecos and this piece of old channel and to bring those back up flush, and I just clamped a trimmed new piece in place, and I like to use a Dykem. You can use a marker or whatever, but I use Dykem on the back of it, and then I'll use an actual scribe to get the line from the inside. So you're just scribing along that, and so then you make your final cut, trim, file it, and at this point start tacking. I do the outside first because you can register with the inner structure that's already there, and then you can cut the outside out. And as you cut that outside out, you can weld the inside, and you have access to hammer and dolly and planish that weld as smooth as you want to.
Great. So next step is tacking the front end and then running your weld along the front edge. What kind of welder are you running? How's it set up? What are the settings for this kind of weld?
I use a Miller Dynasty TIG. I use a 1/16 tungsten, argon, backing gas. A lot of people will use, you certainly, if you're not doing like crazy restoration work, you can use a MIG welder. You can, it's just, there's different field of thought on that. It's a harder weld, it's colder, whatever. It's really whatever's accessible to you.
Great. And what's the most important thing while you're welding this line to keep in mind to make sure it works out well?
I tack about every inch. So you don't want it to move on you. So, get it where it's buttoned up nice and seamless. 1-inch tacks along the whole thing. Then you re-level it back flush, and then you're gonna weld the whole, I like to weld the whole seam at once. That way you have a consistent amount of heat along it. But it is what
Great. And how do you keep it from overheating?
You just move correctly, move in a consistent pace. I like to do it about, this is a little bit bigger than 18 gauge. If it's 18 gauge, I like to do about 35-40 amps. This one, you just want to do the same amperage along the whole seam.
Got it. So keep it consistent.
Just stay
Great.
consistent.
All right. Well, excited to see how this comes out. And we'll be shooting more videos of the process along the way. Hopefully it's helpful. Check us out at vintageoutfitting.com or on Instagram and Facebook at Vintage Outfitting.